there are some really awesome band directors that nobody knows of because they're in their own little neck of the woods and they're burning the house down and doing a great job.
If your program is strong, if you're doing the best you can, that's success. If you have kids loving music, that's success. All right, so now we are officially in our first episode. Uh, Previous one was just kind of an introduction, welcome, and now we're on our first episode. So
Yeah, so
here we
thanks for
go.
coming to our first episode. Hopefully the pilot episode brought you to this one.
Exactly, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth on this one. We're going to talk about each one of our different situations, where we're at, uh, what our programs look like, maybe deal with some of the programs or explain programs that we've dealt with in the past before in our previous jobs. We will go over the format for what future podcasts will look like, which will be a series of questions that we will each answer, um, and we will ask our guests to answer these questions. Oh, I'm getting a shadow here I don't like, so I'll move that down. I don't know if you can hear me any better or worse with that. Um, so, like I was saying, we'll answer a series of questions that we will ask our guests every time they come on. And then each time, maybe if we don't have a guest, then we'll talk about what's going on in a week, in our weeks, and uh, ask for tips and give tips and things like that. So,
Yeah. And full disclosure, we are learning this as we go, so I'm sure you will hear mistakes. There will, we are learning this as we go. So hopefully
and
it
we
will
are
get better and we'll refine everything. But it is
very
what it
low tech right now. We are just trying to get this thing started and try to get some traction, and then from there we can improve. And we'll give you our contact information. Let's just go ahead and do that right now. You can reach us or stay up to date with us on our Facebook page, which is the Rural Band Director, and we have an email called the Rural Band Director at gmail.com. All of it's one word. Um, and give us a shout out. Give us something. Hey, things that you like. What do you think we need to improve on? Can't do anything about this. So sorry for you. Uh, but that's what we do. And if you're listening to us on just the audio, then well, we have video option that we'll have on YouTube, and we'll give those that address out later. And then we have well, you will be able to access this on YouTube through what, Tony?
uh, we'll have a YouTube channel specifically for this podcast, which will be the Rural Band Director. And then I'm also going to be sharing them on my other YouTube channel, which is the Assisted Band Director.
Okay,
There'll be
the
two
assistant
locations to find it.
band director. Okay, it's a fantastic YouTube channel with Tony hosts that by himself. There's quite a few episodes on that. I've watched a few episodes. Um, now, Tony, don't be mad at me. I've not watched every single one of them, but I have watched a few, and there's a lot of great information that Tony's sharing with everyone on his or on his YouTube channel. Um, so, like you said, we will have our own YouTube channel. You'll be able to access it through the Assisted Band Director YouTube channel. Contact us through social media on the Rural Band Director Facebook page, and contact us through the Rural Band Director at gmail.com. Um, and send us and give us topics that you would like for us to cover. Uh, if you feel that you want to be a part of it and be a guest and come on and talk with us, please let us know and give us some contact information. No matter where you're at in the United States, because we know I've I'm in Kentucky, Tony's in Tennessee. We'll get more into that later on, but we're gearing this for anybody in a rural setting. There's not too many podcasts out there that deal with band directors who are in the country.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start our format. Whoa, earthquake there for just a second. My knee hit the table. Sorry. Again, very low tech to get us started, and then we'll, as we get more experience, uh, maybe things will go a little bit more smooth. And maybe you like the low tech aspect of it. I don't know. We'll just wait and maybe hear back from you guys. But what our format's going to be, uh, like I said, we will have interviews, we will have guests. Uh, we've got many connections in the states of Tennessee and Kentucky, and maybe some outreaching um, colleagues in other states that we would love to have on and talk to. And the way that will work is we're going to ask everybody the same questions and get your takes on some of these. And then if we know or from the answers, we want to dig deeper or dive deeper with some questions with our guests, we will do that. Okay. So, Tony, how you want to do this?
Um, well, uh, I guess before we get started, we also want this to kind of be like, band directors talking shop. Because whenever you go to a conference or anything like that, the best part of that, I think, is just getting together with other band directors and just talking about, anything and everything. Um, so again, if you want to be a part of this, it doesn't matter if you're a rookie teacher or you're in your last year or anywhere in between. We would love to have you and just come and talk shop with us. So for the questions that we did, we each decided to come up with 5 questions to ask. So it's 10 questions total. And it's really kind of cool that none of our 5 questions overlapped at all. So mine's kind of more of the business end of things and your day-to-day procedures. And then Mike, yours were more like all of the stuff that's kind of outside your day-to-day thing,
And
or on the
you know
personal
what?
end.
I'm very interested to know, uh, like where do you come from? What made you, I know my story as to what made me fall in love with band directing, and what I would love to hear other people's stories. What made you fall in love with it? And because if you're doing this as long as Tony and I have, I'm doing it for 27. I'm on my 27th year. Tony,
I'm at 13 years.
you don't do it this long by if you don't love it. Um, you're doing something else by now. Um, and if this does reach college students, then we'll talk about that. You need to know. Give our podcast some listen. Listen to many episodes or as many as we can get out, and know some of these things before you get into the profession.
Because
I,
odds
I
are you will probably have one of these jobs
yes,
to start
I
off with.
promise you, you will have one of these jobs that we're going to talk about. Um, and you need to know that before you get your first job. Your first job is not student teaching. You may love student teaching, but when you're by yourself, I don't want to scare you, but it's different.
It's completely different.
And you will learn more in your first year of teaching than all 4 years of school. 5 in my case.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So uh, we're going to talk about some things that, talk about what undergrad prepared us for, what undergrad did not prepare us for. There were some cases in my instance where there were a few things that I didn't know that undergrad definitely did not prepare me for, but there are some things that undergrad definitely prepared me for that I thought I would never use. And I know I'm not the only one. And, we'll talk about that with some of our guests and things like that. That's some of those questions.
Well, do you want to go first on the questions, or do you want me to go
All
first?
right, sure. So I'll ask you these questions first,
Okay.
and then you can ask me your questions, and then I'll answer my questions and you answer your questions.
Okay.
How's that
Sounds
sound?
good.
Okay. All
And this
right.
will be the format that we do with all of our guests. So we're test driving it on ourselves.
Yes. And we're letting you know who we are, where we're from, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So let's do this first before we start with the questions. Do we want to tell who we are and where we're at and about our program and then answer questions? We can edit
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So my name is Mike Holbrook. I am originally from South Central Kentucky. If you know what state of Kentucky looks like, we are right in the middle of the southernmost border of Tennessee. Uh, find the direct middle of Kentucky. We are right there on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee in Monroe County, Kentucky. Our county has about 11,000 people, a little over 11,000 people. There's no good way to get here. There's no large city. The largest city closest to us is over an hour away. Um, we have one high school with a population of about grades 9 through 12, population of 475 students, 500 on a good year. Um, one middle school, grades 6 through 8, and three elementary schools, and we're all interconnected. Um, so that's where we're at. So currently in our program, we have a high school band, marching band, competitive marching band, pep band, concert band, middle school marching band, or not marching band, concert band. We started a jazz band this year. This is my first year back at Monroe County. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Um, this year we started a jazz band. Uh, very few people, middle school and high school students, but it is started and we're going forward. Um, I've taught for 27 years. I went to school. My college was at Tennessee Tech in Cookeville, Tennessee. That's how I got to know Tony, and made some really good connections with those students down there. I've taught in rural counties in Tennessee and rural counties in Kentucky. I've served as general education, general music education, middle school band director, high school band director. Um, I've taught choir, I've taught general music. I've even taught a ACT prep class, uh, career classes. Currently, this year in my program or at the school I'm teaching at right now, because it is a rebuilding year, um, I'm teaching band, general music, PE, and foreign language. But our foreign language is on a computer-based thing, so I'm really just babysitting and making sure they're doing that. But I knew that going in. Life dealt me things to where I was living in Tennessee. Now I'm back in Kentucky in my hometown. The job came open, and it just worked out. Life, life worked it out. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure how much we're going to edit out of this, but
Hey, and that's
all the background music or all the background noise that you are hearing is we currently have a winter guard rehearsal going on. So again, my name is Tony Hibbard. I am the band director at Avery Trace Middle School. As I go through kind of the things that I did, some of you guys will probably be saying you're not a rural band director, but we'll get into all that. Avery Trace right now has about 800 kids in it. It's fifth grade through eighth grade. There are about 120 kids in the band program. It feeds into Cookeville High School, which is a ridiculously large high school for the city that it is in. It has about 2,300 students. Um, the Avery Trace program has a winter guard program, and it does not have a jazz band at this time just because there's no time to do it. I'm also the assistant band director at Cookeville High School. So by the time you add in all of the after school activities that I'm doing, there's really not time to add jazz band at this point. This is my 6th year at Avery Trace. Before that, I taught in Cumberland County in Tennessee, one county over, and taught a high school band program of about 30 to 45 between my 4 years there. And then prior to that, I taught in Smith County, which was another high school program that was around 30 to 40 each year there. So I really started my career in a bunch of these smaller programs. My first year in Cumberland County, I taught at a K-8 school that had 3 band kids in it. So
Mm.
I've definitely been everywhere in between. But as far as what I teach daily, I am very fortunate to only have to teach band. It looks like, some things may change next year to where that won't happen. But throughout the course of my career, I have taught high school band, middle school band, marching band, pep band, jazz band, percussion class, choir. That was fun. General music. I've kind of done the whole thing. I've written my own drill. I've had to compose some of my own things because it didn't quite work, or rewrite some things. So I've kind of done all of it in
Yeah.
in a short amount of time, I feel like.
But I really think between the two of us, and definitely with some of the guests we're going to hopefully have on, uh, we have done everything there is to do. I have started a program from scratch, and that's one of my questions. I've started a program from scratch. I have inherited an established program, and I'm currently right now in a rebuilding program. And, we might talk about that later. So I've done all three of those things. And some people might ask, why are you this late in your career? Why are you switching? Well, just life happens and things happen. It was not in the original plan to where I would be back home, but things have happened, and so I am back home. Um, and currently, I love it. Now, Tony was talking about his situation where he might be going from all band to have to do other things. My situation is totally different next year. I'm going from doing other things to teaching all band. So, um, and again, we got two different states. I'm in Kentucky, he's in Tennessee, uh, and that's going to be different things. So, we will pause right now.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, feel free to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Rural Band Director.
And if you have topics that you'd like for us to cover, contact us through email at theruralbanddirector@gmail.com.